of the Always Believe House. Oh, today you are going to take another monstrous step into adulting. You're going to factor a quadratic. Wow. This is the basic arithmetic of calculus. You're going to have a blast because you're going to learn with more power. So a magical whiteboard appears, and let's start rocking and rolling. Now then, last week, and I hope you did all the problems you were supposed to. You multiplied a binomial times a binomial and got a trinomial, and you did the full method when you did that. Okay? So on this paper, right here, we're going to go through and do some of these, and basically, I'm going to tell you we're going to go backwards to the problem when you factor. So right off the bat, let's write down x plus 2 times x plus 3. Now remember, last week I taught you to multiply this. We're going to draw arches, and then we're going to put 3 blanks, and then we're going to multiply. The first, the last, then add up the outside and the inside. So x times x is x squared. 2 times 3 is a plus 6. And then the outside arch would be plus 3x, and my inside arch would be plus 2x, wouldn't it? And then 2x plus 3x would be a plus 5x. If you did not do those problems last week, you're probably going to get lost today, okay? You got to go back and get all of those problems done. This has to happen, and you got to be able to do it quick. The more you do it, the quicker you get, okay? The more you do it, also, you won't have to draw those arches. You'll be able to do all of it in your brain, okay? So the goal is to where you can do it real quick. Now then, we didn't get a lot of problems on that, so if you need more problems to multiply, let me know. Now then, what we're going to do today is factor. We're going to go backwards to the 2 parentheses. So the first thing you want to do is get this number and write it down to the right, and then you're going to write down all of the factors, like I taught you yesterday. The factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. Now then, one of these sets will add or subtract and give you this number. So which set, 1 or 6, adds up to 5? It's the 2 and the 3 in it. So what do you do with 2 and 3 to get a plus 5? You do plus 3 and plus 2, don't you? So this is the way I'm going to teach you how to do this. Draw your 2 parentheses under the problem. Drop this sign. Okay, in today's lesson, it's always going to be x and x, or a and a, or m and m. Okay, so whatever letter you have goes first. Now then, look at the factors that work. They're 2 and 3. Which one's larger? The 3's larger, right? You put the 3 here. Now then, what am I going to do to 3 to get to 5? I need to add 2. I'm not going to subtract, am I? So my next sign will be plus, won't it? Notice that this is the same thing as this, but it's in a different order, right? Okay, so the answer is going to be x plus 3 times x plus 2, or you could do it backwards. Notice we are undoing the multiplying and we're going back. Also notice, this is important, this number and this number are your arch numbers. That will happen every single time, okay? The 2 arch numbers are going to go down in the parentheses. Let's go to another problem. Let's do x minus 4 times x plus 2. Okay, draw your arches. Okay, so 2 times x is a plus 2x. Negative 4 times x is a negative 4x. I forgot to do the blanks. Okay, so x times x is x squared. Negative 4 times positive 2 is a negative 8. And now I'm going to add up my little terms, and I'm going to get a negative 2x. Okay, so x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now then, take this 8, and I didn't leave much room over here, and write down your factors. 1 times 8 and 2 times 4, aren't they? Which set of factors subtracts and gets me 2? Which ones can I subtract and get 2? The 2 and the 4 work, don't they? So I'm going to draw the parentheses. I'm going to put x and x. I'm going to drop this sign. Now then, which one's larger, the 4 or the 2? The 4 works, doesn't it? What will I do to the negative 4 to get to a negative 2? I'm not going to do a minus 2 because that would be minus 6. I need to subtract, so my signs will be different, won't they? So negative 4 plus 2 is a negative 2, right? Now then, notice it's the same thing that we started up here with. Also notice that the -4 and the -2 are the two arch numbers, aren't they? That's going to happen every single time, okay? Oh, continuing on. Okay, write down x minus 2, x minus 6 times x minus 2. See if you can multiply this out. Pause the video and see if you can multiply it out, then watch the video and see if you get the same thing. Okay, so pause the video. Okay, let's see if you got it. So draw your three blanks. I forgot to do that last time. I'm going to do x times x is x squared. -6 times -2 is a plus 12. Then I'm going to do my arches. -2x minus 6x. And I'm going to add and go straight down, and I'm going to get a -8x. So x squared minus 8x plus 12. Now then I'm going to factor it, okay? So take this number, write it over here, and write down your factors of 12. 2 times 6 and 3 times 4, right? So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4 are my factors of 12. Now then, look at the last sign. I want to add and get 8. So which one of those adds up to 8? It's 2 and 6, right? So the 2 and the 6 add up to the 8, don't they? Okay, so I'm going to draw my parentheses. I'm going to put x and x, or whatever letter I have. Drop this sign. Which one's bigger, 6 or 2? The biggest number goes first. Now then, what do I do to a -6 to get to a -8? I'm not going to subtract, I need to add. To add, the signs have to be the same. So this will be a -2 on it. Notice that it matches up to these, don't it? So x minus 6 times x minus 2 would be the factor of x squared minus 8x plus 12. And lastly, one more before we start doing the worksheet. Let's do x plus 7 times x minus 3. Pause the video and see if you can go all the way through and factor it, okay? Let's get started. So you need to draw your arches. Once you get good enough, you really don't need to draw those arches. Once this gets clicking, okay? The more you do it, the quicker you get. So x times x is x squared. 7 times -3 is a -21. And then my outside arch is -3x. My inside arch is plus 7. Plus 7 minus 3 is a plus 4x, isn't it? Okay? So now then, I'm going to take the 21 and I'm going to factor it. 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. Now then, I'm going to draw parentheses under here. Write down x and x. Drop this sign. And then I want to subtract and get 4. Which one of those subtracts and gets 4? The 7 and the 3 work, don't they? If none of them work, the problem is prime. I don't think I gave you one that was prime today. But if none of those factors work, it's prime, or you haven't written down all the factors. Okay? So I'm going to put 7 first because it's larger. And what do I do to 7 to get to 4? I'm going to subtract. So if my 7's positive, my other sign has to be negative, don't it? Notice how it matches up, doesn't it? And these numbers are plus 7 and minus 3, aren't they? Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Like I said, this is beginning. When we put a number in front of that x squared, it's the hardest thing you'll do in this class. This worksheet only has x squared. So let's get rocking and rolling and do the problems. Score! This is going to be a blast. Oh, ho, ho, ho. First thing you want to do, okay, so we're all on number 1, aren't we? Take the 63, write it over here. We're going to write out the factors. Okay, so 1 times 63, 2 won't work. 3 times 21 works. If you don't know it, punch 63 divided by 3 and get the answer. 4 won't work, 5 won't work, 6 won't work, 7 times 9, 8 won't work, and then I'm back to 9, aren't I? Okay, so that's how you get the factors. And I'm going to show you another way to get the factors if you're weak on this. I need to pull up the calculator. Okay, and I'll keep going on while that calculator is pulling up. Now then, which one of those factors, let me do it in green, add up and give you 16? Which sets add up and give you 16? The 7 and 9 work, don't they? So you need to have all your factors, and then you want to do the last term, whatever signs right here, add or subtract to get that middle term. So draw your parentheses, drop this sign, and you're going to have n and n on this one, aren't you? Now then, what number's larger, the 7 or the 9? The 9's larger. What do you do to 9 to get to 16? I need to add, don't I? Since I need to add 9 and 7, the signs have to be the same. So I'm going to have a minus 7. This last sign does not drop. The first sign drops. Also remember, this answer could be n minus 7 times n minus 9. Okay, it can flip around. Either one is correct. I'm teaching you to drop the first sign and put the biggest number there because it always works, okay? That's why I'm teaching you that way. Well, let's go to number 3. Okay. Now then, I'm going to use this in a minute to show you how to get because we don't need to do that on 15, okay? When we get to another one that's real big, I'll show you how to get the factors, okay? So the first thing we want to do is get the factors of 15, and this is easy. 1 times 15 and 3 times 5 is it. The more factors you have, the more the harder it gets, because you have to look at more permutations or more combinations. So the smaller the number of factors, the easier it gets. Now then, I want to add up and get 8. So the 3 and the 5 work, don't they? So I'm going to draw 2 sets of parentheses, put n and n, because that's my letter, drop the plus. Now then, I'm going to put the 5 first because 5 is larger than 3. What do I do to 5 to get 8? I'm going to add, aren't I? Since I'm going to add, the signs have to be the same, so this is a plus 3. Plus 5 plus 3 is a plus 8. That's what you need to be looking at. Oh, F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Remember, if you're confused, this is the first time you've done this. This is the hardest thing you're going to be doing in this class, especially when we put a number in front of the square term. That will be the hardest thing you do. Let's keep going. Okay, so on the next one, we got 8. We need the factors of 8. This is another easy one. 1 times 8, 2 times 4, 3 won't work, and we're back to 4. Those are the only factors of 8. Draw your parentheses. Write down n and n. This sign drops. Now then, which ones add up to 6? The 2 and the 4 work, right? Which one's larger? The 4 works. What do I do to negative 4 to get negative 6? I need to add a negative 2, don't I? So this will be a minus 2. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. This last sign does not drop, does it? Okay, that's important. If you do minus 4 minus 2, you get the minus 6. That's what needs to be clicking there, okay? Getting these signs right is hard. Also remember, this answer could also be written down like this. You can write down the factors either way. Let's go to the next one. 16. Now then, I'm going to show you how to get the factors with the calculator. So go to your calculator, go to graph. So I'm going to hit the home button, type in B for graph. You want to graph a function, so hit menu. If you haven't been doing this all fall, something's wrong. Graph is 3, and then function is 1. So I have this. Now then, I want the factors of 16, don't I? So type in 16 divided by x. You're going to have to do this next week because the numbers are going to get big. 16's real easy. Okay, so hit enter and I get this line. Notice it's a curved line because the x is in a denominator. You're going to learn what this is later on in this spring. This is called a hyperbola. Now then hit Control T. So hit Control T. Control T gives me my table, right? My table has the factors of 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8. 3 doesn't work because 3 times a decimal, right? So it won't work, but 4 times 4. So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4 are the factors. That's all you have to do to get your factors if the numbers get big. So I'm going to go over here, write 16, 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4, and then I want to add up and get 10. The 2 and the 8 work, don't they? So I'm going to add and get 10. The 2 and the 8 work. So I'm going to put down 2 parentheses. I'm going to drop the minus. Okay, I'm going to write down my x and x, and then the 8's bigger. I'm going to put it first. What do I do to a negative 8 to get to a negative 10? I need to minus another 2, don't I? So minus 2. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10 if you punch that in the calculator. If you put plus 2, negative 8 plus 2 is a negative 6. You're going to be subtracting, aren't you? Okay, so that's huge, okay? Remember, you can write that down backwards. X minus 2, x minus 8. Let's go to number 9. Okay, if this is troubling you, getting the factors, remember, if you graph 50 divided by x and then hit Control T, you'll get a table with the factors of 50. 50 is pretty simple though. 50 is 1 times 50, 2 times 25, 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 5 times 10, and that's going to be it. 6, 7, 8, 9 won't go into 50. So I have 3 sets of factors, right? I want to add and get 15. So the 10 and the 5 add up to 15, don't they? I'm going to use 5 and 10. Now then, write down your parentheses. Write down X and X, your letters. Drop this sign. And which factor is bigger, the 10 or the 5? The 10 is, right? Now then, what do I need to do to negative 10 to get negative 15? I need to add a negative 5, don't I? So I'm going to put minus 5. Negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. Oh, 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 oh. And we're going to skip some. Let's go to number 13. Oh, okay, on number 13, let's write down the factors of 10. 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. That's it. I want to subtract and get 9, so the 1 and the 10 work, don't they? Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 parentheses, drop the n and the n, drop this plus. Which factor is larger, the 10 or the 1? The 10's larger. And then I got to subtract to get the 9, don't I? I'm not going to put plus 1. If I put a plus 1, I'll get plus 11 in the middle, right? I want plus 9, so I'm going to put a minus 1. If this last sign is minus, these signs will be different every time. If the last sign's plus, the signs will be the same every time. Got it? Okay. So what's plus 10 minus 1? It's a plus 9. If you add up those last numbers or subtract them, you'll get that middle term. Let's keep going. Turn the page. Let's go to number 17. Oh. Factors of 3. Piece of cake. The factors of 3 are just 1 and 3. I want to subtract and get 2, so the 1 and 3 works. I'm going to put parentheses, write down X and X, drop the what? Drop the plus. Which one's bigger, 3 or 1? The 3's larger. 3, I need to do minus 1 to get the plus 2. Remember, if this last sign's minus, the signs are different. If the last sign's plus, the signs are the same. That would be the answer. This is not that difficult, is it? Okay, pretty simple stuff. Once you get those factors down, the hard part's getting the factors. Let's go to 21, and we got 54. Ooh, 54 is going to be tough, right? Okay, so let's go over here, write 54. I'm going to do the calculator one more time, okay? So let's go to the calculator. I'm going to hit Control-T to clear the table. You got to do this every time. Then we want to delete that graph. So menu, where does it say actions? 1. And then where does it say delete all? Mine might be different. Mine says delete all on 4. So I'm going to hit 4. And then hit enter for yes. And boom, I don't have a graph. Now that I need to graph. So menu, I want a graph is 3. I want to graph a function. You're going to have to be doing this a lot. So make sure you can do this. 1. And then we want to get the factors of 54, right? So we're going to punch 54 divided by x. Hit enter. Okay, remember, it's going to graph a hyperbola. Don't worry about what the graph looks like. Now then hit Control-T. And bam, you got your factors. 1 and 54, 2 and 27, 3 and 18. Notice that 4 is not a factor because 4 is paired with 13.5. 5 is not a factor because it's paired with 10.8, right? So you'll go up and down on that table and write down all the whole integers, right? Those will be your factors, okay? Anything with a decimal won't work. So I'm going to go back to the paper and I'm going to show you how I do this in my brain. 1 times 54 works. 2 goes into 54. 2 times 27. If you don't want to do it with the graphing, you do 54 divided by 2 to get the other number. 54 divided by 3 is 18. 4 won't work. 5 won't work. 6 works. 6 times 9. 7 won't work. 8 won't work. And after 8, I'm back to 9, aren't I? So I stop. Now then, I want to subtract and get 3. So which one of these subtracts and gives me 3? The 6 and the 9, right? Okay. So draw your parentheses. Drop the first sign and put X and X. Now then, which one's larger, 9 or 6? 9's larger. Okay, piece of cake. And then I want to subtract and get 3. So I'm going to do minus 6. Plus 9 minus 6 gives me my plus 3. And remember, if this is negative, the signs are different. If the last sign's plus, the signs are the same. And one more problem. Let's do number 25. 25, I'm going to write down the factors and then pause and see if you can get it. This should start getting pretty simple. Make sure you do this whole worksheet. Make sure you do this whole worksheet. You should be doing these really quick by the end of the worksheet. So I'm going to write down my factor. 1 times 9, and then 3 times 3 are my factors of 9. That's it. I want to subtract and get 8. Okay, now then see if you can finish this up. Pause. Okay, let's see how you did. Okay, the 1 and the 9 are going to work, aren't they? So I'm going to put parentheses. I'm going to put in and in, and I'm going to drop that minus. Which one's larger, the 9 or the 1? The 9's larger, and I need to subtract to get 8, so I'm going to put a plus 1 because the signs have to be different. And check, I got it, okay? Piece of cake. You're going to finish up the rest. Oh, we got one more. Let's do number 29. Let's get the factors of 70. If you can't get the factors of 70 in your brain, you're going to graph 70 divided by x and hit Control-T. Remember, you got to delete everything when you do that on the calculator. I'm going to show you how I would do it. So write down 70. 1 times 70. 2 works. 2 times 35. 3 won't go into 70. 4 won't work. 5 works. 5 times 14. Okay, 6 won't work, 7 works. 7 times 10. Notice the more factors you get, the more combinations. 8 won't work, 9 won't work, and I'm back to 10, so I stop. I'm at the bottom right-hand number. Now then, see if you can figure out what the answer is. Pause the video. Okay, we're back, okay? So we want to subtracting at 3. Hopefully you figured out the 7 and 10 work. Those are the ones that subtract and give you 3. Now then we're going to put the parentheses, drop the plus, put in and in, and then the 10 goes first because it's larger. I need to subtract, so the signs have to be different, minus 7. Plus 10 minus 7 is my plus 3. And remember also that the answer could be like this. You could write it either way. You are going to have a blast finishing these problems. It's going to be better than eating Reese's peanut butter cups. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Done, okay? Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.